Hello and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. I'm super excited about today's episode because it's on a topic I'm completely obsessed with, which means this is going to be ranty. There's going to be a lot that I'm sharing. It's jam-packed. This is definitely one you're going to want to have your notes out for. I am breaking down my exact 5-step goal-setting process that has helped me hit all of the biggest goals throughout my entire life. I have been using this process for the last 10 years to help me manifest the life of my dreams. And I'm going to be breaking it down for you so that you know how to use it as well. It's simple. It makes sense. It works. This is the exact process that I use to help me go from government housing to a multi-million-dollar dream house that I live in today. Helped me go from a job that was burning me out to starting my dream business, to go from a broken home. If you've listened to episode 1 and some of the episodes since, you probably know my childhood was not the easiest. And I went from that to creating a life that I'm completely obsessed with since I was a little girl, and the family that I love and all the things I've ever wanted through this process. So that's why it's going to be a ranty episode. I was not even going to film today, but I'm like, I need to get this out. Once the inspiration hits, you gotta follow it. So here we go. Today's episode is also going to be personal because I know we're officially halfway through the year. We have 6 months left until 2027, which sounds wild, but we have made it 6 months through the year. And if you recall, on New Year's Eve, I shared an episode where I was vulnerable and I shared my 3 top goals for 2026. So today, publicly and sharing where I am in relation to those super personal goals, how it's going, what went well, what didn't, while sharing this process with you as well that you can implement so you can also reflect on how the first half of your year has gone and how to make it better. Okay, so let's dive in. Hey, it's Irina and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. All right. So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, or if we met, you probably know that I'm completely obsessed with goal setting. I constantly have my journal with me. I am reflecting on the goals. I'm checking in on them every day. I have another agenda where I write everything down and I check it off. It is a very robust system, but it's also extremely simple. And you don't have to be as extreme as I am with this, but I'm going to break down exactly what I do. And there are 5 steps to it. So planning well has helped me in every single aspect of my life. So this isn't just going to help you from a career perspective. This is really to look at your life holistically and see where you want to go, and then create a specific plan with action steps to help you get there so you can also have a career you're obsessed with, the life you're obsessed with. And we can always, goal setting never really stops. Our ambitions might change. What our goals look like may change month to month or year to year. And that's totally okay because we are always evolving. We're going to break down how you can actually hit your biggest goals this year, before 2026 is up. Okay. So the first step is one that most people miss. I know that we often think of diving in and creating those goals on, January 1st. But there's a step that is the most important that comes way before any of that ever starts. And the first step is having what I call a North Star. This is the vision that you have for your career and your life and your future. This is the long-term vision. So it's where you want to go in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. So this is not how you are going to actually hit those goals. It actually starts with understanding what is it you are working towards in the long term? And it can be super overwhelming to try to figure this out. what should my life's work be? What is my calling? Like these are huge questions. And that's not what I'm asking you to answer here. But it's important to have a vision for your life, where you want to go, and completely irrelevant of how you are going to do that. This could be a paragraph just explaining what you see in the future for yourself. It could even be a vision that's like 1 year from now if you have a big change that you want to make. But what matters the most is actually having that North Star, that vision towards where you are going. Because if you don't have that, the trap that a lot of people fall into is create these goals in January and they don't stick by February, but because they're not meaningful, like they don't actually matter to you because they're not aligned to where you want to go in the future. I'll give you some examples of this just to make it real. So in high school, literally taking you way back, we're going, what is that, like 20 years? We're going decades back. In high school, I was not living a life that I thought was a great life. And I knew I had huge goals in the future for when I am 25, for when I'm 30, 35. And in high school, I don't know if you guys had careers class. I definitely did. And this was like the course in grade 9 where, at least in Canada, they would kind of ask you where you want to go in your life. What is it you see yourself doing? And I remember my friend and I, Maria, drawing these pictures. And we used to doodle like as we're going through this, and we used to like literally draw the life of our dreams. And I remember I had this picture that I used to always draw of this house and having a life where I had this beautiful home. I had a husband that loved me. I had this great family and, there was so much abundance and it looked very, very different from where I was. Like at that time, I was coming home from high school every day, putting my backpack down, walking into the basement. I was living in a government funded like townhouse with my mom. Because my parents had divorced, she lost everything again, and she couldn't support our family. I was like super embarrassed about where I was living. It was not the life that I wanted to. The basement was like moldy and dingy. It was like not nice at all. Of course, you know me, I love decor. I tried to make it as beautiful as possible with like little IKEA furniture and things like that. But at the end of the day, I knew that the future vision that I had for myself was so freaking different than the past. We used to draw these beautiful pictures. I actually remember what Maria's picture looked like. It was a huge mansion and it had a helipad on it. Like she would have a helicopter and she'd draw all these things around it. And the funny thing is she doesn't have a helipad right now, but she lives a very abundant life. So there is a method to the madness. Even from a young age, like I knew I wanted a bright future that didn't look like my past. Now in high school, did I know what I was going to do with my life? No, I did not. Did I know I would be here? No, I did not. But I had a vision. And then each and every year I'd clarify that vision and then I'd create goals on how I can get closer to that vision. So think about what that is for you. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? I recently did another podcast episode a couple episodes ago earlier this month where I asked you these questions. So you might be clear on that vision that you want for your future, which is so, so great, so important, amazing. Step 2, here is where we create the actual goals. So I like to do this a couple times a year, check in on it. Sometimes, they need to evolve, they need to change. But the reason I say that you want to create a maximum of 3 goals is for a very specific reason. So I don't want you to have like 10 different goals on the list, 20 goals on the list, because focus is the most important thing when achieving your goals. You're going to need clarity and then you're going to need focus because multitasking kills focus. It does not work. It just will mean that you're not doing anything well. And I'm going to break down how you can have 3 goals that are extremely meaningful to you and what I personally do. So having one goal literally means you're saying yes to that one thing, but you're saying no to something else, right? So it's like if you have a goal, for example, I'll give you an example, my goal of, writing a book, that literally means I have had to say no to so many social events this year. I've literally been a hermit. I have not been leaving the house because all of my time has been dedicated to that goal. It means saying no to other things. When you say yes to too many things or you put like 5 or 10 goals down on the list, it gets very, very overwhelming. So here's how I want you to do this. Your goals should be bucketed. So here's what I mean. Every single year, I personally always have 3 goals. One of them has to do with career or business, in my case, career or business. The next one is always to do with my health, because if you know, I'm a cancer survivor. Health is something that's like extremely important to me because I know without it, we literally have nothing. Nothing matters if we're not healthy. So I always have a health goal I'm very focused on. And then I typically have like a wild card one that's important for that year. Last year, it was starting this podcast and then like being focused enough to record it weekly and all that good stuff. This year, it's writing the book and launching it this year, right? So those are the 3 goals. Now, where things get a little tricky for people is you assume that that's all you're doing for the whole year. And that is not the case. These are just your top 3 priorities. And you're going to have micro goals underneath these 3 buckets. So here's what I mean. For the health goal, I had a health goal that I declared last year on that New Year's Eve episode. I actually said I have a career goal, a business goal, which is to continue to grow the business in a very specific way. And I created like 10 other goals that sit under that of the actions I need to actually take. Then I had a health goal. I wanted to really lose 10 to 15 pounds. I knew that this was really important to me for a number of reasons. And I have successfully done that now. And I've worked really hard towards that for the last 6 months to make that a reality. And then the third one was writing this book, which I had to write daily. I had to go through a number of edits and to make sure that we are launching it in 2026. And that is all slated to happen this year. But for those 3 goals to happen, I needed to set micro goals underneath each one of those. So first, what I'm talking about is setting those 3 important buckets for you of what you want to achieve specifically. And then you're going to daily, weekly, monthly check in on those goals and create those daily actions with focus of how you are actually going to do that as a reality. Maybe one of your goals is money, right? Like saving money. You want to save a certain amount of money. I've had that as my goal for many, many years, and it's just not the focus this year. That was a big one actually 2 years ago. And, there had to be actions that were taken on a daily basis to be able to meet that goal and achieve that goal. So I wanted a certain amount in our investment accounts. And then when we hit that, there was, a big celebration and all that good stuff. And then now I've focused on different goals. But you see, if I had goals in every single category of my life, which a lot of people actually tell you should do, I think that's the worst advice ever. You'll just never have enough focus. You'll be spread too thin. You'll have way too many things on your list and you won't be able to move the needle. So the thing that works really well is writing your goal down. I'm someone who loves to write. Obviously, I'm writing a book. I've been writing every day pretty much since I was like 6 years old. This is my thing. If something else works better for you, if you want to use the Notes app in your phone, if you want to do this virtually, whatever works for you, but I would write down your goal in a place that you can see it all the time. So in my agenda on the front page, I have my top 3 goals. And then I have my micro goals underneath that. I have specific timelines, like by May 18th, I had to finish a certain edit for the book to make sure that it launches this year, and so on and so forth. So there's those micro goals, and I'm looking at them all the time. And not every month am I actioning all of them, but I'm seeing them, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm checking in. And then weekly, every single Friday, what I do is plan for the week ahead. So I look at next week, and I'm like, okay, what's in my calendar already? What do I need to put in my calendar to make sure I am on track with these 3 goals that are super important to me? So I want to give you a little behind the scenes kind of breakdown of what those goals were and where we are right now with that. Okay, so goals again from last December 31st that I announced were 3. My health. I wanted to lose 15 pounds. I said 10 or 15. 15 was actually the number I wanted, but I was scared that I wouldn't make it because literally for like the 2 prior years, I was not doing this. And it was really, I had like a hormone imbalance. There were lots of things that were, I felt like getting in the way, and I wasn't able to get into the shape that I typically am in for someone that works out consistently every day. So I took a look at that goal and I broke it down. I figured out what I needed to do. And, I had some appointments with my doctor. I changed up my health routine. I changed up even what I take in the morning in terms of vitamins and supplements to get my hormones in check. I changed up my workouts and I started accountability with myself. I started weighing myself every single day at first, and then I changed it to weekly. But it was a long road, and I felt like I wasn't making that much progress in January, and then things got a little better in February, but not really. And then in March is really I really dialed things in. And then I ended up losing 15 pounds this year, which was my ultimate goal. So now for the rest of the year, my health goal is changing to be in maintenance mode. I'm no longer looking to lose weight. I'm looking to tone, to get stronger. And we're going to break down more about this. But if you want me to actually film, there was so much that happened in the last 6 months with this health goal and being able to reach it. And again, I've literally been trying for 2 years and I finally figured out how to do that. So if you want like an actual breakdown of what I did specifically to reach the health goal, if I get 20 comments on this podcast episode, so if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can leave a comment. If you leave the word health somewhere in your comment, I will know that you want an episode breaking this down. I'm super happy to share the playbook. If one of your goals for the next 6 months is also getting in great shape, maybe it's losing weight, maybe it's gaining muscle, I'm super happy to share that because I know the goals around health are very, very common. So let me know. But that's not what this episode is about. So there was that one. So that one is achieved. Now I'm changing the goal. It's not that health isn't important to me. It's like, now I'm changing the goal to be able to maintain it for the rest of the year. So I never have to do that again because it was a lot of work. Okay, second was the book. So going into last year, I finished the manuscript and then I was like redoing it earlier in the year, but I set the goal to launch the book this year. And we are in a position that I can let you know that we are launching the book in September. So I'm super freaking excited about it. I really wanted to launch it in the fall, and I can't believe that it's actually a reality. I'm going to be sharing a lot more on this as well and how you can get involved and all of that good stuff. More to come on that, but I wanted you to know that we are on track with that goal too. And that one also took daily action, and it took a lot of commitment and work to get there. But knowing that this was my top priority for the year, I knew that this was more important than going to events. And I said no and turned down a lot of different opportunities. I've actually been asked to do so many things that I had said no to. And I'm only sticking to these top 3 priorities. And then the third one for me is always career. In my case, it's business. So my business is my career. So for you, it might look like maybe you want to get promoted. Maybe you want to land a new job, which is amazing. There's going to be like 1,000 steps you need to take in order to do that, starting with the resume, then the pitch, then the interviews, follow-ups. So all of that good stuff and having metrics around that, of course, right? The book goal, when I tie it back to the North Star, step 1, having a North Star. I have dreamed of writing a book since I was a little girl. I used to actually play this game where I would call it library. Like I was playing library, like boop, boop, like scanning the little books across my desk and pretending I was a librarian. But for some reason, I was signing all of the books. I was writing my signature on the front page of every book, closing it, moving it along, signing the next one, closing it, moving it along. And I had this vision since I was like 5 years old. This is literally the game I would play for like months, maybe even years. I've lost track of time when I was that age. But I remember that was one of my favorite things to do. And literally, that's been a North Star. It's been a vision of mine. And this year, I will be signing books, my book. And I think that is a really full circle moment, but it also illustrates the point of having a North Star and a vision for yourself. So I want you to think about like your deepest desires when you're doing this work, and the goals that you set annually could and maybe even should be based on those huge lifelong dreams that you have had, right? Then, so that was me in a younger stage. Then in the last couple years since I was declared cancer free, I knew I wanted to write a book. I didn't know what I wanted to write about. I thought actually I might want to write a book on positivity and gratitude while you're going through cancer or hard times. And then I was like, I don't know. And then I put it on hold. And then last year I finally declared that I would be writing a book and it would be launching this year. So it's like one of those goals that was on the back burner for a long time until I made it one of my top 3 and prioritized it, right? That's what changes everything. Actually making something a daily priority for you that you're going to focus on. And that type of focus, you're going to be relentless. Like I am a beast. When I set a goal, I'm like, this is it or nothing. Like I am going all in until this is achieved. And that's the attitude that you need to have when you set huge goals that are meaningful, that are scary, that will take you to the next level in your identity and your life. That's the type of commitment that it often requires. Okay, so step 1, have it be the North Star. Step 2, set 3 goals maximum. Then when you do, write them down somewhere where you see them and you check in on them. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Step 3, you're going to want to understand your why. You're going to want to know the meaning. Why is this important to you? Because it will get hard. It will. If this is a big goal, if your goal isn't just like, I want to eat an ice cream by 5 p.m. today, it's going to get hard. If there are a lot of steps towards your goal, there will be challenges that come up. This is life. So what's going to get you through those hard parts is to understand your why. Okay. So my why for this year, getting back to the best shape of my life was so that I could feel great. I could feel light at the gym. My knees aren't going to hurt. I could chase my son. I could feel confident and show up as a true, like I actually look like I train because I have worked out consistently for like a decade. Consistency, again, is not my problem. I will show up to the gym like 5 times a week all the time. But the thing was, what was sabotaging me was food and hormones, and getting clear on that helped me to recalibrate. Now, when things got hard, when I was tested, when it was time to, go out for drinks with friends again, I had to recalibrate, look at my why. Why is this important to me? Same with the book. There were so many times where I'm like, I'm not going to hit this deadline. Like, I can't believe that I'm not going to hit this deadline. Like, there's way too much to do. And it's too much. And then I thought about my why and what I see in my future. And then I thought about how this has been a dream since I was little. I know that this is my calling and my purpose and what I am meant to do. And it reminded me that, no, you are going to hit that damn deadline. Like you're going to do it, whether it means you're working all weekend or not, because it's important to you. If I didn't have that why it's important, I would just be like, I'm not going to meet the deadline and it's fine. I can just launch the book in 2027 instead. Okay. So have that deep and meaningful why and journal on it. Really express it. Like I know someone right now, and if you're listening, I won't say your name, but if you're listening, I know she listens to the podcast and we follow each other on socials. And she has this big goal to get in the best shape of her life by her birthday. And that's super exciting. But I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, you need a deeper why, because what's going to happen is, and it's happened to me before too, is you hit that goal and then you let it all go afterwards because you've been so restrictive. And you need like that long term. Like for me, my health goals are based on like longevity. Like I want to be skiing when I'm 65 years old. Right? So I want to feel good. I want to feel active. I want to like go to Italy and hike up the stairs. And I know that that comes with being at my optimal and healthy weight. And I'm tying it to something that's important and lifelong. So once in my life, I did set a goal to be in the best shape ever for my wedding. And then guess what happened? After the wedding, I got super fat because I was like so restrictive. I hit that goal because I'm a psycho when I set goals. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh shit, I should have said that I also wanted to be like the hottest wife ever after I hit that goal. Okay. So tying it to your why, and it has to be a really meaningful why and really important to you. Okay. Step 4, you're also going to want to assign it to a milestone. So there's a ton of research that says the reason people wait to implement or take action on their goals is because they're waiting for like January 1st to come. They're like, all of Christmas, I'm just going to eat all these cakes and treats and cookies. And then like in January, I'll worry about it. Or, those people that are like, I'll start on Monday or I'll wait till my birthday, whatever that is. The reason that that happens is because our brains really like a fresh, clean slate. So a new month, a new week, a new year, a birthday, these are all really important milestones. So you probably know, if you've been listening for a while, I had a birthday episode as well. And I walked you through my birthday goal setting kind of process as well, which is similar but different. And every year I make goals for what I want to do with my life. I've been doing this since before I was 20. So I was like, this is what I want to do by the time I'm 20. This is what I want to do by the time I'm 25, 30, 35. I have one for 40. I have a very clear vision for what I want for 40, even though there's years until that happens. So if there is not a big, meaningful date coming up for you right now, like your birthday or the start of a year, you can use the fact that there are 6 months left out of this year right now. You have exactly 6 months until 2027. And the research shows when you have a date that is meaningful to you, then you're going to be more likely to stick with that goal. Now, if that's not very meaningful to you, just literally pick, July 1st or Monday, whatever that is, but start, just start, and then commit to it. Okay. So we are heading into step number 5, the very last step. This is simple, but not easy to actually make happen, right? So this is simple, but it's like you need to do the work daily to make this happen. And what is going to help with that is step 5, which is all about accountability. So accountability, you already know, is so important, but I'll share the power of accountability. I had one of my friends, Irina, literally last week message me we use this like app. It's called Polo, and you can send like videos to each other because she lives in London. And we both had a health goal, and she's a new mom. And anyway, she had her health goal. I had mine, and we talked about it all the time. But then she checks in with me. And last week she's like, hey, Irina, by the way, how's your health goal going along? Like, how's your weight loss journey going? And I go to her, oh my God, thank you so much for asking. I just lost 15 pounds this year. And this is how I did it. And I was sharing all the details. And she's like, oh, amazing, blah, blah. And we were talking about it. And I asked her about hers. The point is that you want to be accountable to someone. I would have felt literally like if no one knew that I had this goal in my life, if my husband didn't know, like I even told my son I'm eating healthy, like I'm not eating after this time, I'm not eating snacks, whatever the case is. And the people in my life that I'm closest to need to know. And sharing with my friend, the fact that she checked in on that means accountability really, really works. So this is how you can create accountability for yourself. Literally right now, share this episode with a friend, someone who's ambitious, who also has goals that they want to achieve this year. Maybe you've talked about your New Year's resolution 6 months ago. Send this to them and check in on them and ask, like, do you want to do a glow up by the end of 2026 together? This is my top goal. What's yours? Now, what I did for additional accountability, which seemed scary, but on New Year's, I recorded an episode to share with you guys about what my goals were. And just like my friend Irina, I know that if you still saw that I was a little bit like puffy around the sides, you'd be like, Irina, what the fuck? You didn't achieve your goal, right? So there's the accountability there. Or if I didn't launch the book or I stopped talking about it, you would all be like, oh, she didn't achieve her goal. And there's something about accountability that keeps us focused and driven and wanting to recalibrate. And even when it gets harder, you feel like you failed or like I told you in January, like I didn't make much progress at all. Anyway, I did all these different things and I could tell they weren't working with my health. And I also felt like I was behind with the book. It was just like a really bad month. And I was like, too bad. Like this is still my goal for the year. So I start again Monday. I start again tomorrow. And I keep going until it's a reality because my goals are important to me. They're important to me. So right now, share this episode with a friend to give you that accountability. Exchange what your goals are. Share them with me. You can DM me and let me know. And by the end of the year, I'm going to be doing another episode to check in on you guys with your goal setting process. So now that you have your North Star and that vision of where you want to go in your life and your career, it's actually time to implement this and make it a reality. So set what makes sense for you in terms of this process. Are you going to take actions daily, weekly, annually, monthly? What does that look like for you? Because creating the life and the career that you actually are obsessed with takes effort and it's important. And there's a huge, huge payoff. So, okay, quick recap on the 5 steps in case you're like, what were they again? Okay, step 1, define your North Star, your vision. Where do you want to go in your life? 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year from now? Where do you want to go? Step 2, set a maximum of 3 goals. Then you're going to create micro goals on how you will actually achieve those things from a daily, weekly, and monthly perspective. And you're going to have SMART goals that are measurable and specific and time bound and all that good stuff to make sure that you hit those top goals by your deadline. If you don't have a deadline, if you're just like, I hope I do it by December 31st, like it won't actually happen. Write it down and put it somewhere where you can see it often. I personally have my goals on a vision board that is the background of my phone. So I literally see it 100 times a day. It's also the background of both of my computers, my desktop and my laptop. So anytime I'm working, I literally open it all the time and I see what's in front of me, all of my goals, all of them. I can't unsee it. I use a journal and an agenda all the time. The front page of that agenda is my goals list. I look at it all the time to keep myself accountable. Right? Step 3, add your meaning, your why. Why is this important to you? Without this, it's going to be really, really hard to stay on track. And when it gets hard, you'll abandon the goal. Or when you hit that milestone, you might, put it on the back burner and take it off the list of priorities. So what is your why? What is your long-term why? How does this tie into your vision? Step 4, align it to a milestone. Okay. So make sure it's aligned with like New Year's Eve, January 1st, a Monday, a birthday, because there's also research that aligning it to a specific milestone will make sure that you take it seriously and you see this as something as like a fresh start and the goal is meaningful to you. And step 5, accountability. Share it with those that are closest to you, people that you trust and love. Share your goal, share this episode, create an accountability partner where you can check in and be like, hey, you said you wanted to, maybe it's like land a new job, or you said you wanted to read a new book every single month this year. How's this month's book pick going, right? You said you wanted to lose 15 pounds. How's that going? So glad she wasn't afraid to ask me, thinking, maybe Irina failed, right? So I'm so glad. So now it's time. You know what the process is, but the process only works if you work it, right? You need to work it. You need to do the work. And I know if you're here, you're also someone who has big dreams and you want to also up-level your life and your career. And you're also like me, you are obsessed with setting goals for yourself and seeing them through. And if that's the case, this is a sign to start right now. We have 6 months left in 2026. We have July through December. That is 6 months. And I know that is a huge amount of time where you can accomplish nearly anything that you set your mind to. So I hope this episode fired you up like it did for me. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.